And in England, there's Oxford University, right? And when Oxford was created, it was the early 1400s, and they made this building. It's a dining hall. I've got a picture of this dining hall, actually. It's pretty famous. It's pretty cool. It's been in Harry Potter films, and it's pretty recognizable, right? It's this great hall. Well, a few years ago, actually about 100 years ago, in the early 1900s, so 500 years after it was built, somebody was on top and they noticed that the central oak wood beam that runs the entire stretch of the hall was infested with beetles and it was starting to rot, and everything was dependent on this thing. And so they estimated that in 3 months' time, that the beam would cave in on itself and the building would be good for nothing. And so they started a search crew. They looked at the redwoods in California and in Oregon at the tall trees, and they looked all over for it. They couldn't find an appropriate tree or piece of long wood that would take care of it. So they started thinking, maybe we'll just build a steel beam and we'll paint it so that it looks like wood, but they're British and they're like, no, it has to be perfect. I don't... So they didn't want to do that, so they just kept looking. Right, they just kept looking, and one day there's this gardener who's walking by, and he knows all about wood and about trees, and he thinks of something, and he runs to the dining hall where there was a prayer room with a secret cabinet, and he pulls out this piece of parchment that has the blueprints for the dining hall, and he runs back to the president's office, and he unrolls it, and he stops the meeting, and the president kicks people out of the meeting that he's in because he reads the thing. And up in the top right corner of this original blue plan, it says, we estimate that in 500 years' time, this large oak beam that holds the entire structure up will begin to decompose, and so we have made provisions. We have made provisions, and the president and the groundskeeper are just kind of looking at themselves like, what provisions? What is this? And they get up and they look out the window and they're just starting to wonder, how have they provided? Well, 500 years prior to that moment, people had enough foresight to start planting the exact oak wood trees on their campus. And they hadn't thought to think of their immediate surroundings. They were looking around the whole world for the perfect thing when what they needed was actually right on their own campus, some of their own trees. And I think a lot of us, we're searching for the right words to say to somebody. We're searching for the right things that's going to encourage somebody when God has provided us the exact right story that will speak life into them from our own circumstances. I think some of us are looking for the perfect person to learn from, perfect person to try to model your life after, when there's this person in your life who is pretty darn close. See, God has provided all this stuff around us. He's provided us with story to speak into people. He's provided other people with story to speak into us. But we just don't see it. We just don't see it. So that's my question for us. Who has God put in your life to bring up? And more importantly, and I put this in the first person so that you can ask it. More importantly, do I have people in my life who challenge me to become the person I want to be?